You're a man of many talents. Obviously, you're a dentist as well. I know I'm so worried because you're looking at my teeth. I've got this wonky veneer we've got to talk about. You said I should get some sort of... But it's about you, it's not about me. Sorry, let's start again. So talk to me about the Brexit Party and what it was like being in there and your feelings when we finally left the EU.
I mean, I was exhilarated when we finally left the EU. My father started working against the European Union in 1961 when I was 2 years old. So I'm brought up on Euroscepticism. And I used to say to Nigel, I'm the only one that's been in this game longer than he had. So I've been doing it for so long, and for finally to see that the whole train of Europe with even more political and economic union, certainly there was somebody leaving it. Well, it was absolutely fantastic.
And what was it about the EU that you just couldn't really contend with?
I don't think you can have a functioning democracy with 500 million people speaking 24 different languages. That's the problem. And the other problem is that the further you move decisions away from people, the less involved they get. And I think democracy is very much a question of people feeling that they have influence on what is happening. And nobody felt they had any influence of what was happening in the EU.
It's very difficult, isn't it? Because I don't know how many members there are now. Was it 26 or 27 or something? But even to get 5 friends to agree something is, you know, to meet up at a certain point is difficult. So to get loads of people with totally different vested interests to come to an agreement is almost an impossible construct.
To an extent, but if they can come to an agreement, then I haven't got that much of a problem with it. The problem with the EU is that they can dictate to countries what they should do, and that is wrong. And also what happens is that politicians, if they do something that is not popular, they blame the EU and thereby move the whole thing away from people, and people feel that they can't do anything about it. They feel that the EU is just telling them what to do. And that is the time, that's when democracy certainly becomes a problem. And that's the main problem with the EU. I'm very happy to have the free trade agreements. I'm very happy to have agreements between countries. But I don't want a supranational thing like the EU dictating to countries and to people what they should do. The buck should stop with the people in Westminster, and if we don't like the government, then we should be able to vote them out. But I mean, we can't vote out the Commission. That's impossible. Even if every single person in the UK, well, no longer, but every single person in France didn't want Ursula von der Leyen as chairman of the Commission, they couldn't do anything about it. She would still stay there.
What's she like? Is she all right?
I don't know her personally,
know her.
but I mean, she was probably famous for being the most unpopular and worst politician and worst minister in Germany. But you know, I don't know her personally, so
really,
can't say that.
She got that. But when she did the whole thing about the vaccines, that wasn't very popular at all.
It wasn't. No,
it was a very bad move.
It was a very bad move. I think she's made several very bad moves in her time. So I'm not impressed. But you know, as I said, I don't know her personally, so I can't tell you what she's like.
And what do you think the solution is, the whole Northern Ireland Protocol and the border issue? I mean, this is something that really needs to be sorted out, or is it just a sort of a storm in a teacup that could easily be resolved if they put their heads together properly? I
think it could be resolved very easily. The idea that the EU thinks that this is going to ruin the single market is ridiculous. I mean, the idea that certainly we are going to have Nissan producing cars in northern England and then getting them through Northern Ireland, through Ireland and into Germany without paying the customs is ridiculous. I mean, you don't move things that much. The biggest problem I think we're going to face in Northern Ireland is actually more, you know, that farmers are going to produce something in Ireland and then transport it to Northern Ireland and not pay the customs on it. But I mean, you know, if it's counterfeit eggs in Belfast, I think we'll survive it. I think the problem with the Northern Ireland Protocol is that now, instead of having a border between Northern Ireland and Ireland, which I don't think we should have, but then we've simply got a border down the Irish Sea. So the idea that it sort of preserves the Good Friday Agreement is completely wrong. Actually, it does the opposite. What we need to do is get some reasonable ways of dealing with it. And you don't need to have some custom officer standing there and checking whatever you are bringing in. Nowadays, it's all done by paper, or by computer and electronics. And you can easily sort it out if they want to sort it out. But the EU doesn't want to sort it out at the moment.
And you're sort of technically sort of doing yourself out of a job once we leave the European sort of... You will, really, aren't you? You're going to do this.
Absolutely.
So once you get out of the job, and what's happened since?
Well, actually, I'm still doing a little bit of NHS dentistry, but I'm trying to do a university degree in wine.
Oh, really? That's not bad. That's a nice one.
No, I can always come back and do wine tastings.
Oh, yes,
that
bring
would be
some wine
great.
in.
Yeah, no, I think I can always start with my previous colleagues from the Brexit Party. I think they would be very happy to do that sort of thing. But, I drink a lot of wine. I thought it was interesting to actually try and approach it in a different way.
And what are you hoping to do with it? You're going to have a vineyard?
No, I think that's the standard joke for doctors and dentists, isn't it? They buy a vineyard. But what is it they say? If you want to make a small fortune in wine, you need to start with a big fortune. But no, I'm not going to do that. But I might do wine tastings. I might teach people about wine. That could be fun. It's a pretty good degree. So I'll try and do that.
That'd be good, isn't it? So how many more years have you got left of it then? Has it just started?
No. I'm hopefully I'm going to finish it sometime next year. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Well, so he's a student now, then you've left and you're a student now. That's fair enough. Let's bring the panel in, because I know they've got some questions for you as well. Now, we're going to ask Alembic, actually, because are you allowed to ask people what they voted for, whether they voted to leave or remain, or what they're... Go on.
You are.
I'm going to ask you then. What did you vote to leave or remain?
I voted,
be honest.
I voted remain on a margin call, but you know what? Ever since that vote came in, I wouldn't vote the same way now, because I think that the European Union has acted disgracefully in trying to punish us for making a decision, really as a warning sign to Italy and Greece in particular. And I'm very sympathetic to the position that you've taken there. So I would change my vote now. Also, one thing I really dislike is the moaning minis in politics who think they can rerun the referendum until you get the right answer. But a question I've got for you is, when I lost my seat, I didn't plan to lose my seat. You could see it coming because that's what you were campaigning for. What was it like for you shifting from the intensity of politics, and I bet it's fairly similar in the way in Brussels as it was in Westminster, to Civvy Street again?
Well, certainly it's completely different, of course. The 31st of January, and I was out on my behind, but as you said, that was expected. So it is different, and I thought okay, I would decide then what to do with my life, and then suddenly a pandemic happened, and then everything changed again. But actually, I was quite, that whole thing about leaving and waiting, I was quite surprised that we had some APAs, as they're called, personal assistants, and I had one, and he'd been in the European Parliament, a Danish guy, very nice guy, good friend, had been there for 3 or 4 years. He worked for the Danish No Movement before I got there. And he was out on the 31st of January. He was in a job, but got out with no payment whatsoever, no redundancy, nothing. And there was a big meeting with all the British MEPs, and the only one that actually asked whether we could do anything for our APAs was me. Nobody else, which was quite interesting. I think she might have been from your party, actually, that was very interested in... very interested in whether she could have a pension or not, because the rule was you had to be there for more than a year to receive a pension from the European Parliament. And she went on and on about it, and I thought, it's not going to be very much, is it, for, being there 7 months? Until I found out that as a member of the European Parliament, you have private health insurance. And if you then become a pensioner and get a pension from the European Parliament, then you get your private health insurance back again. And that was what she was interested in. That was what she spent most of the meeting talking about. But remember, it's the problem with the European Parliament is they pay a lot of money to people. There are 130 limos that take MEPs anywhere within the city limits. And you think they're only within the city limits. They should be electric. Of course they should be green, right? However, they can't be, because every month they have to drive from Brussels to Strasbourg. And I can't remember how long the trip is, but there's only one charging point, which means it will take 3 days for the last one to get through.
You will love all that.
But everybody uses them.
This is the
Everybody uses them. When I went to Brussels, I found out, because you get a free pass for Belgian Railways, first-class pass to travel on all rail.
Gosh.
When you get on Eurostar, what I did, everybody gets the limo to sit in traffic to get to the European Parliament. I went down from the platform from the Eurostar, went 4 platforms up and took a train that took 15 minutes. It dropped me off exactly outside the European Parliament. But all the Green MEPs were sitting in the limos and burning fuel getting to the European Parliament.
I know a Green MEP who went all the way from Britain to there.
Do you know, that doesn't surprise me at all, and I think that's why people used to be a bit irritated with the whole European Parliament, because it seemed to waste a lot of money.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.